you're going to get a guy that has quite a unique and extraordinary story of survival in the main, but we're also talking about how I got through that. I think the key message from me is overcoming adversity. It's about managing change and developing coping strategies to hopefully still go on and succeed when you've been through arduous times, in my case. Yeah, so I was in service back from the year 2000 through till the summer of 2007. I originally was in service with Cambridge University Officer Training Corps. I earned a commission and had exposure to a wide range of what the Army had to offer by achieving success with the infamous Parachute Regiment P Company process. I got a pass with P Company. I went on to do selection for UK Special Forces Reserve. I served with 21 SAS and A Squadron, specifically here in London, Regent's Park Barracks. Altogether 5 years service as a member of UKSF. I had a wonderful time. It fulfilled my dreams, if you like, of challenge, of adventure, of getting out there and sort of exploring the world to greater depth, and if you like, giving something back as a serviceman as well. And that was very much what I was all about during that era of my life. I had a little bit of downtime in the summer of 2007 after just being given notification that I was going to go to Afghanistan with my squadron and work on a task out there with UKSF. So I chose to use the time productively. I chose to go to America to learn to fly. It was a personal ambition, and specifically I wanted to learn to fly light aircraft and get my pilot's license. Everything was going swimmingly well. I was about 3 weeks into the process. By this stage I'd become an independent pilot. I was just a couple of hours from qualifying and doing a quick check flight test with the examiner before I would fly back to the UK and simply go home and sort of carry on my business and fulfil the tasking to go to Afghanistan. But on one particular day, it was a beautiful day in Orlando, I took off and I had quite a simple flight from one small airport flying out to another. I landed and then I re-taxied out and took off and flew back to the original departure aerodrome. And while I was flying overhead at 1,000 feet indicated altitude above sea level, my engine flared up and combusted externally. I had a full-on engine fire, which then subsequently breached the cockpit very, very quickly, and flames started to build up in the lower portions of the cockpit around my feet and my lower limbs. And as I was trying to pilot the aircraft and do exactly what I'd been taught, the Americans always said, just fly the aircraft if you're in trouble, and just concentrate on what you need to do to get that aircraft down to land. That's what I was trying to do, but the fire within the cockpit built up and up and up. Before I knew it, the flames were lapping around my chest and lapping around my face. By this stage I was low level, and I then made a very hasty but conscious decision to not land the aircraft conventionally on the tarmac, but glide over softer ground, low level. I managed to follow protocol, so switch off the aircraft ignition and the controls, remove my headset, unbuckle my harness, clamber out onto the left wing, open the canopy door in order to do so, and climb through that aperture onto the left wing, compose myself briefly in an upright position, standing on the left wing before jumping to safety on the ground. However, I was still about 15 feet above the ground doing 30 knots while I did so. In a nutshell, I got away with it by the skin of my teeth. I jumped because the aircraft cockpit was a blazing inferno, and there's no greater motivation for wanting to get out of there. That said, the damage was done. I was 60% third degree burns. I was very lucky because, having put in a hasty mayday over the aircraft radio net, I was able to summon relatively quick assistance, and the authorities in Florida sent in a paramedic via ambulance and then a helicopter, and then I was subsequently airlifted to what turned out to be a very premier medical facility in Orlando, and probably the best trauma hospital in all of the USA. I spent 6 months there in a drug-induced coma, and I was then treated for around 61 surgeries over the course of the next 6 years of my life in order to survive and overcome the adversity of massive third-degree burns, 60%. Very, very lucky to survive. I owe that survival probably to 3 counts. Number one, the rapid emergency medical response, and they talk about that golden hour. So I was lifted within that golden hour and taken to one of the world's top trauma facilities. Number two, the subsequent dedication and support of the medics in the USA, and probably some of the best medical interventions during that time in 2007. And number three, there's no doubt about it, my own dogged and determined mentality not to quit, and indeed to try my best to fight through and come through the injury in the best shape that I could possibly muster, by literally pulling my socks up and getting on with it, and refusing to give up when I was at my lowest ebb. And fundamentally, that's the reason I'm still here today. And my aim now is to make a difference. It's to support my fellow wounded, injured and sick service personnel through what I do with the diver training, through offering my services as an expedition leader and a qualified mountain leader as well, and also my wealth of experience as a senior scuba diver within the PADI as well as the BSAC professional agencies. So to give something back, and also hopefully to inspire people with by giving my story within the environment and the domain of the public speaking world as well.